If Jesus returned today, he wouldn't be invited to most churches. And that's not a provocative opinion, it's a biblical conclusion. Because every time Jesus truly appeared, the religious system reacted the same way: rejection, persecution, and expulsion. Jesus wasn't killed by sinners. He was killed by religious leaders. The chief priests and the Pharisees gathered the Sanhedrin and said, "What are we to do? This man is performing many signs." John 11:47. The problem was never the sin of ordinary people. The problem was always threatened power. Jesus didn't fit into the system because he didn't ask permission to speak the truth. He taught as one who had authority and not as the scribes. Matthew 7:29. Authority without institutional credentials is dangerous. Authority without the system's approval is intolerable. Jesus didn't follow the script. He interrupted. While the system was turning the temple into a business, Jesus did the unthinkable. Jesus entered the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers. Matthew 21-12. He didn't ask for a meeting. He didn't negotiate. He didn't try to explain himself. And he made the reason clear. My house will be called a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers. Matthew 21-13. If this happened before, why do we believe it would be different today? The religious system loves a symbolic Jesus, but rejects the Jesus who confronts. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. Matthew 23-13. That phrase alone would be enough for Jesus to be banished from many pulpits today, because he exposed something few want to admit. Religion can become an obstacle between God and people. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Matthew 15-8. Jesus didn't attack faith. He attacked empty tradition. Thus you nullify the word of God for the sake of your tradition. Matthew 15-6. Today, many prefer to preserve the structure rather than obey the truth. They prefer to protect leaders rather than confront internal sins. They prefer to maintain members rather than form disciples. In vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. Matthew 15-9. Jesus didn't create dependence. He liberated. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. And yet, many responded, we were never slaves to anyone. John 8:33. The most dangerous slavery is the one that goes unnoticed. Jesus never promised institutional comfort. He promised internal confrontation. If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Matthew 16:24. This doesn't build crowds loyal to the system. It builds free people. And free people have always been a threat. The light has come into the world, but people loved darkness instead of light. John 3:19. When Jesus was handed over, even Pilate realized. He knew that it was out of envy that they had handed him over. Matthew 27-18. Nothing changed. If Jesus returned today, many would say that he divides the church. But he already answered that. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. Matthew 10:34. Not a physical sword, but the separation between truth and falsehood. Jesus doesn't fit the system. The system is what needs to die. Every branch that does not bear fruit is cut off. John 15:2. So the question isn't whether Jesus would be accepted today. The question is much more uncomfortable. If he entered your church now, would he recognize what he sees as something that came from him? Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Matthew 7:21. If this made sense to you, or if it bothered, you don't ignore it. This kind of conversation rarely finds space. Subscribe to the channel, not for numbers, but to continue questioning what almost no one dares to question. And leave in the comments what you really think about this. Not the rehearsed answer, not a ready-made phrase. Here, faith is not embellished. It is confronted